And good evening, everyone. I'm Bo Williams, and welcome to The 7. Let's get a look at the big 7 stories right now. Topping the list, tomorrow is the 6-month mark since Helene devastated the region. Take a look at some visuals that we have from the storm. You know, this was in Hartford, about an hour's drive from Knoxville, and you can see how high the water rose. Matter of fact, a propane tank, if you look closely, floating across the street in those floodwaters. In Cocke County, several people were trapped on top of a hospital as floodwaters continue to rise there. In Irwin, several people died at the Impact Plastics factory due to rising waters. The employees not able to make it out of the factory's flooded parking lot. Another eye-catching view we remember was shared by TVA, showing a torrent of water flowing over the Cocke Dam. The water eroded away some of the surrounding hillside, damaging the old powerhouse to such an extent that it had to be demolished. But the dam held. Data gathered by scientists show the river saw a peak flood level of more than 33 feet. That's just under 10 feet higher than the previous record crest, which stood for over 120 years. Now, you can get some idea of that from this map that's part of a National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration report on Helene. What you're seeing here is the path of the storm as it pushed north from Florida through Georgia, just kind of skirting South Carolina, entering North Carolina, then Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, and then looping back around to Tennessee. The path divided into segments of different colors. First as a major hurricane in the Gulf, losing some strength, but still a hurricane near the Atlanta area. Eventually, the line goes yellow, indicating Helene had weakened to a tropical storm, but it stayed in that category even after passing over the Smokies, with the center of the remnants crossing right over Knoxville. Next at 7, people in Cocke County still working to get back on their feet. Cocke County Mayor Rob Mathis says his main priority is getting everyone back in their homes and businesses up and running once again. Then comes infrastructure, repairing roads and riverbanks in the rural parts of the county. He says it will be a long process, but with hope among the community and the help from their neighbors, he believes they can come out of this stronger than they went in.
We're through the emergency part. Now we're at the foothills of the rebuild, and we're probably going to be another 4 years, 4 to 5 probably. We're 6 months into a 4 to 5 year process, I guess, is the best way to put that. So we're still at the foothills of this. We have still got a long way to go before we're recovered, and we're incredibly grateful for the help that continues to come in.
That help coming here in East Tennessee and across the country. Meanwhile, businesses in Cocke County are beginning to get back on their feet after floodwaters from Helene forced many to close for long periods of time while cleanup was underway. This, of course, impacting the county's local economy. Restaurants, flower shops, dance studios alike, all taking time to make sure that they are ready to reopen for business. Now, the current unemployment rate in Cocke County is roughly 7%. According to the county mayor, 6 months after the storm, the county is still reeling from the impacts of having, been essentially closed for a long period of time. Mayor Mathis telling us despite the lost revenue and jobs, there are signs that the local economy is bouncing back.
But it has impacted our sales tax revenue, it's impacted our employment, it's impacted our local businesses, but we are starting to show signs of bouncing back. For example, a few months after the event hit, we did gain a new employer. Now, that was not a lot of jobs, but it was in an area that was hit by the flood, so that area has come back to life.
You know, we're told with the storm, the county lost about a year's worth of progress when it comes to lowering the unemployment rate. You know, a story that emerged out of Helene 6 months ago is our next Big 7 story for you. Here in East Tennessee, people are still reliving their experiences during the storm. That includes Tennessee Highway Patrol Trooper Hannah Smathers, who had to be rescued from her patrol vehicle after it became stranded. You know, Smathers was trying to escort another driver out of rising waters when her vehicle got stuck in floodwaters from the Cocke River. In an interview, Smathers explained how a swiftwater rescue team threw her a life jacket and a rope. She then walked through what happened once she tried to make her escape to shore.
I took a step away from my car, and of course immediately my feet were swept out from under me and went underwater, and I was holding on to that rope.
Smathers went on to say that the Cocke River has a history of dangerous floodwaters, with Native Americans even naming it the River of Death. Knoxville police has arrested 2 teens after claims they threw objects off an overpass overlooking I-640. KPD says after they received several calls, a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old admitted to hitting multiple tractor trailers with rocks over the past 2 days. This is after TDOT cameras showed the two walking along a railroad track on the 640 West overpass at Bruin Road. The two teens were taken to Richard L. Bean Juvenile Detention Center and charged with reckless endangerment. We should note no one was injured by the falling objects. Roane County school bus driver accused of using his phone while driving a bus that crashed, leaving two children injured, has now been fired. 6 News received confirmation from Roane County Director of Schools Russell Jenkins earlier today. The letter of termination says Paul Perrin was in violation of a state law. The law, using an electronic device while operating a school bus. On Monday, he was caught on video reaching for his phone. This led the bus transporting 21 students to go down an embankment and slam into a tree. 2 children, as we mentioned, were hurt, one with a severe head injury, the other with a hand injury. Our next story on our Big 7 list for you tonight, we're getting a look at yet another wildfire burning right now. This is in Anderson County. 6 News viewer Matthew Hawkins sharing this picture, and you can see the smoke rising above the ridgeline. According to Tennessee's Division of Forestry, this is a 40-acre fire that at last check was 1% contained. The fire near the northern edge of Anderson County, west of I-75 on Beech Grove Lane near Rocky Top. First responders say right now no buildings are threatened. Now, the Rocky Top Fire Department says its crews, along with crews from several other departments, are working together, and they are asking people to give them room to work as they try to protect homes and any properties that could come in the flames' path. And we're told state forestry crews are helping out as well tonight. Meanwhile, Loudoun County firefighters working alongside the Tennessee Forestry Service to contain a brush fire that sparked in Lenoir City. It started on Price Road, and people there are being asked to avoid the area. As more information becomes available, of course, we will keep you updated on air and online.